Crash. Hey, what's up, everybody? Grant Baldwin here. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great day. We have been doing a series of these conversations and interviews with people in the speaking industry, talking about how they're adapting and adjusting to these crazy times. And today we're joined by my friend, Mr. Clint Pulver. And Clint has been making some of these same adaptations and processing and thinking through everything like everybody else. Clint's also just released a great demo video, a virtual demo video that we'll talk about and may have a sneak peek of in a little bit. So Clint, thanks for joining us, man. How are you today?
We're hanging in there. It's been quite the ride. I appreciate you letting me be on the show, Grant, and your content, everything you're doing, man. It's amazing. So.
Is there anybody right now who's like, man, this is great. This is so much. I don't, maybe the Amazons, the Costco's, the Walmarts of the world, but at least in the speaking industry, most of us are just like, it's day to day. Today I'm all right. Tomorrow could be different.
And it is such a roller coaster. Like one moment in the day, I'm like, we're killing it. Like, I'm going to keep my kids off the streets. And then the next moment, I'm like, we're going to be on the streets. So it's, it's totally ebbed and flowed.
Now, how has let's go back a little bit because it feels like we've lived a lifetime, and even just within the past month or so. I remember when this first started really happening, I was texting with a bunch of speakers, you and I were texting. And I remember you were kind of initially just kind of like, it's a kind of blow over. It'll pass. It's not, we'll get back to normal sooner rather than later. And so, which I think I was kind of thinking that too. I think a lot of us were thinking. I remember a couple of buddies, we were texting every couple of days, and before it really started to pick up here in the US, and we were like, you think that virus thing over there, you think that's going to eventually affect us? Like, nah, we're good. And so at what point did you realize, like, okay, this is probably here to stay, and I probably need to start thinking about this differently? So what's kind of been that timeline for you?
Yeah, we had one client that was converting their live event to a virtual event. And it was already booked. We were planning to do that event, and they switched it completely to virtual. And they said, Clint, we want you to do a virtual keynote, and we want you to use your drums, and we want you to tell the Mr. Jensen story, and we want you to use a flip chart, and like all this stuff. And I first, to be honest, I told them, I said, I can't do that. I can't do that virtually. And I don't know how that'll translate virtually. And this sounds weird, but it's the truth. It's how this all happened. I was binge watching the Imagineers documentary on Disney+.
Which is great, by the way.
Amazing.
So good.
If you have Disney+ and you have not watched that, watch it. If you are a speaker, any type of entrepreneur, watch it. It just fired me up. It was like I watched Rudy or some motivational film. And I left that going, all right, Clint, this is your time to really just hunker down, do your best, create, imagine, dream. And so we created a full virtual studio with the drums, and here we are today. So
what, and I assume you're in your house?
I am in my house.
What is it? Just like a spare bedroom? What have you converted into your virtual studio?
Yeah, great question. So this used to just be the drum room where I had 2 drum kits. And when I originally built the house, I built it to be soundproof, this specific room. So I had double insulation, double drywall, but there was 2 window doors, the big just barn doors, not even barn doors. I don't know what you call them. Just doors with glass, and they would open up. So it wasn't completely
French doors.
Thank you.
I got you.
And so what I did is I decided, because if we're doing drums, and I've got 5 different camera angles in the studio, and for me that creates more of an immersive experience. And so angle, for the B cam versus C cam versus A cam are all different. And so I needed a clean backdrop around the whole studio. So I put up 9-foot curtains, 7 hours of freaking hanging curtains in this room, and ironing them, but they're soundproof. And so it gives us really great quality as far as audio is concerned, and does give it that kind of dark backdrop. And then we've got 7 studio lights, and obviously the audio mic. And then I've got, it's called an E8010, and it's an electronic acoustic drum module, and that mics the whole kit. And then we stream that through. We're currently using OBS through Windows, and we are also building a computer that supports the stream. It's just, not everybody, I would never recommend this, I don't think. But for me and what we're trying to do, and if I wanted to include drums, that just opened up another can of worms that has been quite a headache. But again, as we promoted the video and shown that to offer value to our clients, the feedback has been awesome. And that experience and the production level does matter to them.
Yeah.
It does matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it raises a bunch of different questions. So it's one thing to say like, okay, I got invited to do this one virtual keynote and we'd like to include the drums and we'd like to do the flip chart and we'd like to do these couple different things. And so you could do a version 1.0 of that. This feels like the setup that you're in right now feels like, okay, this is going to be here to stay for a minute, and I'm not putting this up for a one-off thing.
Correct.
This is going to become a bigger part of what I'm doing. So
Correct.
was that kind of your head going into it of just like, all right, if this is what the market's going to be, or if this is the way I got to deliver for the next foreseeable future, then if we're going to do it, we got to do it right. Is that kind of your approach?
Absolutely. Everything in our business has been, quality has been a top priority. Yeah, your content needs to be amazing. Yes, you've got to be amazing on stage, but your marketing needs to be top notch. Your video, and now we've become an AV team. You've become a production company if you're doing anything like this. So I felt like that needs to be that needed to be just as good on the quality.
Now, I got several other questions, but given that we are in you're in your virtual studio, so to speak, and you're a drummer, if people haven't connected the dots, do you want to play something for us?
I totally could, but the EAD is not set up when I reversed it. So I will.
I didn't prep you for it. I didn't prep you for it.
I know. Well, let's do it again. I promise.
Okay.
We'll do it
All
again.
right.
And we'll throw down.
All right. That's fine. That's
again.
fine. I don't know that other than video, I don't know that I haven't seen you play. So I was hoping for a moment there, but that's fine. That's okay.
We'll do a rain check.
All right. So for some people who may be watching or listening right now going, okay, all the different like acronyms and description you just made, that feels like way overkill or way complicated or way confusing. How are you feeling like you're going to run this? Because even as you're kind of describing like multiple cameras, we're used to give me a microphone, let me up on stage, I'll do my thing. Other people are taking care of it. And now all of a sudden, like you said, we kind of become a one-man band production studio. So how are you kind of thinking about this when you get ready to do gigs? Who else is going to be involved and how's that going to work?
Yeah. So Grant, in the experience that we have found in jumping into this virtual world, there's 5 things that clients are asking for, they're looking for. And from what we received on feedback from our video and then the opportunities that we're booking, these are the 5 things that that matter to them. So number 1 is production. So when we were doing live events, we would call that, what's the experience that you could bring? Whether you're doing magic like Vin, or you're on a unicycle like Dan Thurman, or you play a guitar like Mike Rayburn, whatever it is that you can deliver that provides an experience, whether it's good storytelling, great content, your ability to engage an audience. So in the virtual realm, it's production. So good lighting, audio, sound. What experience can you provide on a virtual platform? Number 2 is content. Is it relevant? Use your speaking topic, something that provides a need, fixes a problem in the situation that we're currently in. Right. And then the third piece is security. And I would even pair that with the word reliability. Do you have a good Ethernet internet connection? Do you have somebody moderating the stream? Every one of my events that are paid for, we have a moderator. I have a guy named Jordan that sits in the corner and he is moderating the stream. He is on the Zoom call. He is listening. He is switching my cameras. I can do it by myself, but I don't want to deal with that. I'm a performer. I'm on stage. I'm in my zone. Speaking in a black box is hard enough as it is. I don't want to worry about that. So right now I have a moderator that I pay a flat rate for every event, and he sits in the corner and he clicks the buttons. And so that's been good for me. And it's mattered to the client to know, oh, cool, you've got somebody that if all systems break down or we get a bad connection or something's not working, somebody else is there to handle and make sure that everything runs smoothly. So, and then the fourth thing is simplicity. How easy are you to work with? Do you understand Zoom? Can you send a link out? Are you using their link? Can you handle everything on the production side and make that an easy, streamlined process for the client? Right. And then the last part is your marketing. The video was very successful for us because I think it showed them the experience that we could bring. So if you can right now, if you're watching this, like revamp your website, get a little virtual landing page, start thinking of some virtual content, dialogue, things that are pertinent to the situation that in your expertise, your area of relevance that you can offer to the market.
Right.
So those 5 things: production, content, security, simplicity, and marketing. And really, it's the same. I'm finding it's kind of the same stuff that we relied on when we were speaking at live events.
Yeah.
It's just morphed into a different format for virtual.
Yeah. And I want to talk about the marketing. I want to talk about the video. Have you done any of the virtual, like actual live paid gigs in the current setup yet?
Yes, we've done 2.
How have they gone?
First one was horrible. First one, we were going with Wirecast, and it became glitchy and spotty during the keynote, and it was a nightmare. And we had to stop. It was so embarrassing. I was stressed out of my mind, and we had to switch into Zoom, and we broadcast everything else through Zoom, and it worked in the end. But it was extremely difficult. But we're now running OBS through Windows, through the tower that we have built, and everything's going great so far.
Okay. All right. Good. So even whenever, like the first one, it's not going as well, you're having some technical issues, you're running into some glitches. Are you finding that the client and or the audience is a bit more patient and understanding? Like, you still want to do it with excellence. You still want to do it to the best of your ability. But the reality is like, there's a lot of this we are all figuring out. The world is trying to figure out Zoom right now, which isn't overly complicated, but still you have a whole bunch of people using the same technology. If you're not used to technology, it can be complicated or overwhelming. So what's been the reaction or the response from clients and audience members?
Yeah, I think everybody is understanding, and especially when you as the speaker, you play to it, you call to it, and you go, this is what we're dealing with. Like,
Right.
I'm glad I was able to get the stream going again. And they understand, which has been really nice and helpful. Another thing that's been really good is we send out beforehand to the clients, first off, kind of like a little write-up of saying, just so you know, make sure to remind everybody to mute themselves. Make sure if we need to block everybody's screen out, let's do that. We had one person on the second call that took their phone into the bathroom with them while we were on the like doing the presentation, and I'm sitting there. I have a 40-inch monitor. That has been my saving grace, because you're speaking in a box. I can't speak to a curtain for an hour. It just doesn't work for me. So on Facebook Marketplace is where I bought this monitor for $25, and I can see everybody. So that helps me to perform.
Okay.
That helps me to have a conversation. And I'm sitting there, and this guy takes his phone into the bathroom, and I'm like, okay, hang on, everybody. We've got to just cut the stream. I'm talking to the moderator. I'm talking to the person that's hosting it. So giving them a little bit of set rules of things that they can do on their end is helpful. And then I would also say if, on that end, giving them a list of the things that they need to do. And then I think we need to have a sound check before the live event. For me, I always had sound check. I always had to go mix the drums when I was doing live events on stage. I think we should still do that same thing for virtual, whether it's an hour before the call or even a day before the call. Get on with 4 or 5 of the select people in the corporation or the school or wherever it is that you're speaking and say, let's do a run through.
Yeah.
I want to show you what this looks like. Let's talk about it. That's been key. And I don't think we'll do another virtual event without doing a run through beforehand.
Yeah, makes sense. So I'm curious, from a platform standpoint, are you primarily using Zoom at this point? Like just your standard Zoom, or are you using a Zoom webinar, or what platform are you using?
Yeah, so we use we can provide that, but only, I'm not paying for like the plan through Zoom that like allows 400 people. I'm not going to pay for that. So we are just most of the time we are hosting through whatever the client wants to host through.
Okay.
So whether that is Zoom or another platform, and again, then we will work that out through the run through. So we are allowing the client to host.
Okay. Do you prefer that, or do you prefer like, okay, I know for my setup, for the drums, for the lights, I know that, this tool works better than that tool, and I've tried that tool before and it was a disaster last time. So are you getting to that point? Do you think you will get to that point, or you just say, hey, I'm going to roll with what they've got and just make it work?
Yeah, we have to roll with what they've got because some people are using different platforms. And I mean, obviously, like, I'd love to steer everybody to YouTube. YouTube streams way better than Zoom does.
Yeah.
Way better. But people aren't using YouTube right now for streaming. Some people are, but some people aren't. Most people are using Zoom. So we've just given them the option, and then through our run through, we make sure that it's successful.
All right, I want to show the video. It's a quick video, a minute and a half or so. And so before we show the video, give us an explanation here. What are we watching? Why did you create this? Who is this for? Kind of give us the thought process behind it.
Yeah, brought to you by the Imagineers documentary that inspired me to create this. We just wanted to show the experience. Again, we wanted to show the production value, a little bit of the content. I also made the video intentionally a little bit broad. It wasn't specific to leadership. It wasn't specific to corporate, or it wasn't specific even to kids. It was kind of a general overlay just to show them that and my history and my career in speaking was in the youth market, in the education space, and now in the corporate space. But I still like to dabble in all of that. So my marketing has to be a little bit more broad. And we're focusing a lot more on just inspiration and motivation right now. Out of the inquiries that we received from the video that launched, I would say 98% of them were people asking, can you just give us a little bit of inspiration and motivation? Yeah. I think the biggest thing that we're battling, obviously, with COVID is now isolation and anxiety and depression and domestic violence, and people that are, young kids that are struggling in broken homes, or, even marital relations, right? And family, and those dynamics. And it is people are looking more and more for motivation and inspiration. So that's what we wanted to create in this video to showcase that. And so far it's been a good thing for us.
Let's play the video. Well, speaking of figuring out technology, we're going to see if this works. Awesome. So we're going to add that. Okay, let's give this a shot.
Cool.
Connection is the key to significant leadership. Now more than ever, we need good leaders that have the ability to connect. Hey everybody, what's up? We are live. My name is Clint Pulver. Thank you for joining me today in the studio for a virtual keynote. Welcome to the virtual studio, where we do virtual keynotes, workshops, coaching, and one-on-one consultation. We provided the highest production quality available through stage lighting, multiple camera angles. We've even got the drum set live mic'd up to create the on-stage experience that's engaging, entertaining, and leaves your people inspired. This is not your typical Zoom meeting or another webinar. We've created the ultimate virtual experience that's engaging, entertaining, and full of content that leaves your people inspired. Just because it's virtual doesn't mean it needs to lack in quality. Now more than ever, we need good leaders that have the ability to advocate as much as they develop. We need stronger teams that look out for each other, that understand the power of collaboration and innovation during times of uncertainty. If the virtual platform is something you're considering for your next event or team meeting, please let us know how we can help. I promise what we've created here will leave your people energized, uplifted, and inspired to be better for each other, your company, and the world.
So good. So good. Well done. Well done. Now,
Thanks,
how long did that take to put together? Because that's not like hey, I just shot a, like a simple little video or something. Like, that's well produced. And so kind of give us some type of timeline here of what it took to put that together.
So we did it in 3 days. That
seems fast.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, and I think it's faster than how it would take to create a regular speaking reel in the live world, right? Because you got to get multiple stages and multiple events, and I have no testimonials in that as well, which we're hoping to add to that in version 2.0. So it was, once the space was created, my videographer, we and I storyboarded it out, and we collaborated on the idea and what we wanted it to look like, filmed it. edited it. We went through like 3 different versions, sent it to our management team. They gave feedback, sent it to a few other mentors of mine, got their feedback, did the final edit, and that was it.
Yeah. But the point being, like, a couple things. One is that you created version 1.0. Now, granted, like, your version 1.0 is really, really, really good. But even like you mentioned, like, we're not waiting until we have testimonials, or we're not waiting until we have, actual feedback. We're not waiting until da 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 da. Or I would do this if, I would do this if, I would do this if. But doing version 1.0, you can always make another one, in the coming months. And even like you said, it wasn't like you were even speaking to, here's my topic, or here's the problem that I solve. I'm just here's a context, here's a platform that I'm showing as a different medium of how I can deliver the quote unquote Clint Pulver experience. Would that be fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And to, again, I think you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So
Yeah.
I did want it to be good quality, and I wanted it to showcase what we could do, but it's not perfect. But for me, I wanted it to be as high quality as we could create.
So you had mentioned before we went live here that, all right, you put the video up. It's got a lot of great feedback especially amongst our speaker community. But you mentioned that it's also got a lot of feedback from potential clients. What have you been hearing from clients? How's the response been?
Yeah, I think, and what we did is, and please, everybody, please know this. I am aware of, like, you don't want to be the guy that's like selling and pushing or pressuring or like, buy my course. But also during this crisis that we're in, I think it's okay to offer value. And sometimes people don't know what they need, or they don't even know. We talk about virtual, and what I wanted to do is just show them what that could look like.
Mm-hmm.
And if that helps you as a business, if that helps you as a school, if that helps you in whatever it is that I have to offer, then great. Let's create a win-win situation where we can exchange that value. That's what we used to do before. And I still think that's okay to do that now, as long as you're sensitive and you're creating that win-win for both parties. And so that was our take in this. And as we've sent it out to clients, past clients, we've just said, listen, I'm now doing virtual. Everything on the live event side has ended for me, but this is what we've created. And if it can offer value, if it can help you, please let us know. Mm-hmm. And the feedback from that has been exceptional, because again, it's not a sales pitch. Hey, here's your 3 tips to getting through the crisis. It's just, this is what I've created. If I can offer something, let me know and let's have a conversation around it. Yeah. And it's been received very well. And it's shown clients, oh my gosh, this is great. This looks cool. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's talk about 15 minutes of motivation or inspiration, or, hey, I'd love for you to jump on with our team and give us a few ideas on how we can come together and unify a little bit more in a virtual space. Yeah. Whatever it may be, it's been really cool to see how well received that has been, despite the situation we're in.
Are you finding that whenever potential clients are seeing that, or past clients are seeing this, they're like, oh, that was really good. Yeah, Clint, you should just hop on and do a Zoom with us. That people are like expecting that it would be free, or they expecting it to be a reduced fee, or kind of how are you thinking about pricing, and how are you thinking about the kind of what you kind of alluded to there, the balance between, like, yes, we want to help. Yes, we want to serve. Yes, we want to provide value. Like, you and I are taking time out of our schedule. No one's paying us for this. We're not being compensated for this. We're just trying to help speakers and those in the speaking industry. But at the same time, you and I both have to eat and live indoors. We both have houses full of women that we need to take care of and provide for. And so therefore, we have to receive value for the value that we're providing. In this case, we're doing this for free, but other things we do charge for. So how are you kind of thinking about, what do I do for free and what do I charge for right now?
Yeah. Again, there is no one size fits all in that question. I think that it depends. It depends on the client. It depends on their need. Do they want 90 minutes? Do they want 25 minutes? Are they looking for a 5-minute video that they can share every week for their people? Everybody's been across the board. Yeah. One thing that has helped, though, is when they see this and they understand that, okay, I don't have to pay for AV and like I used to with a live event, or a sound person, or a technician, and a ballroom that I'm having to rent. But I do see that you are now providing that. Mm-hmm. And that's expensive, and that costs money. And also, I have a moderator, and I pay the moderator. So knowing that there are expenses to now producing this, it's not just hopping on an airplane and paying for a hotel room, showing up to the event. Yeah. There's production costs that's kind of helped to communicate that. And then again, it's just the value piece of the content, and again, creating a win-win of, is this worth paying for you?
Yeah.
Is this something that you find valuable?
Would you charge your typical keynote rate currently for this type of setup? So if someone says, hey, what the 60-minute thing that you do on stage, I want you to do the 60-minute thing right now in this environment. How are you thinking about pricing? I've heard some speakers say I've been doing half or down to 25% of what my normal rate would be. How are you kind of thinking about pricing right now?
Yeah, so we are not getting anywhere close to what our live events were back before this all happened. Again, it's situational. It depends on the clients. It depends on their need. It depends on what they're asking for. Right now, there is no guideline. I'll be completely honest. There is no like one set fee that we're sticking at. It is a conversation, being sensitive to them. Hopefully they're being sensitive to us and our situation, and let's find a win. It's market testing. We are market testing this industry to see what works. And I'm trying to provide the best product at the best production level with great content and delivering the best I can. And again, the market always speaks, and we just don't know yet. So it's kind of a trial and error. I've lost, I think, 2 events because we were priced a little bit too high. And so you kind of, we have to wait till it shakes out. And I don't know where that is yet, to be completely honest, but we are trying. So we'll see.
Every time I talk with speakers right now, publicly or privately, I think we're all just kind of like, we are making it up as we go, as is the rest of the world. And we're all just trying to figure this out right now.
Yes.
Okay, I got a couple other questions for you, and then we'll let you go. One question, because you do a lot in the education space, I'm trying to think through, we've had some questions about this, about what virtual speaking looks like in the education space right now. You and I have both done a lot of school assemblies. We've done a lot of conferences. We've done a lot of events. And how is that going to translate to a Zoom world? Obviously, for most schools around the world, school's been canceled for the rest of the remainder of this year. Hopefully, we'll start back up in the fall, to be determined. But how are you kind of interacting with and thinking about possible virtual gigs in the education space?
Yeah. So again, education, it's diverse in what they're asking, what they're looking for. Some of them are asking for pre-recorded stuff that they can introduce into their virtual courses, their virtual platforms. Others are looking for end of the year convocations. We've got a lot of seniors that are not getting the chance to graduate. And so for the kids, we're jumping on and we're doing like a quick little 15-minute for kind of a virtual convocation celebration for those that want to attend. A lot of school teachers right now, they're struggling to just get kids to even get on for the virtual class. Like kids just aren't showing up, or that engaging part is kind of hard. So they've used kind of what we're doing as a marketing opportunity to go, hey, we've got a motivational speaker, or we've got someone that's going to drum, or something that sounds somewhat cool. So that's been used. And then there's the professional development side for the staff, that, hey, let's just gather everybody together and let's thank the teachers, because everybody feels like they're on an episode of Survivor right now. So let's give them a little up. Let's give them a little motivation. I'm going to play the drums, just share the story about how a teacher changed my life, and just thank them. So it's all across the board in what people are asking for right now.
How are you thinking about this? Obviously, you put a lot of emphasis and effort into creating your virtual studio there, in addition to just, time and energy, but money, building out what you've got there. Do you feel like, hey, I'm just doing this just to kind of buy time, we're going to do this for a few months? Or do you feel like virtual is going to be a bigger part of your offerings going forward? 6 months, a year, however long from now, when we're back to some sense of normalcy, how do you think virtual is going to fit or not fit within your business model?
Yeah, this is here to stay, 100%. I would have never have done this, to be honest, probably, had this not happened. So there has been a really cool, I don't know if you want to call it silver lining, or just positivity, or good things that have come from this. For me, I wouldn't have done this, and it's allowed me the time to create, to do something different, and to offer a separate offering. For me too, I can sit for hours and watch YouTube videos of drummers playing to different tracks and rocking out. And so I've got that set up now, and I want to start doing some YouTube videos and just work more on the creative space within music. But that concept, Grant, of I could do 2 of these, 3 of these in a day, in between, go hold my little baby girl, and then be in my own bed at night, like, oh, that concept to me is so wonderful.
Yeah.
I love live events. I will always love live events, but the ability to still help people offer value on a virtual platform like this has been really cool to experience.
Very cool. All right, one final question. So I know you are an extremely optimistic, positive guy, as are most speakers, but at the same time, we have our moments of doubt and fear and insecurity and worry, and especially right now where business is hitting on all cylinders one day and it feels like it's just crumbled through our hands outside of our control the next day. So how are you remaining upbeat? How are you remaining in the right mental headspace right now in the midst of all this?
Yeah, staying actively engaged in building something has helped me. That's been therapy for me. Like to get on and I've connected with so many gamers and streamers and watching YouTube videos and tutorials. Like that's helped my mind and my headspace to focus on something other than I'm unemployed and I don't know how I'm going to feed my family.
Right.
So that's been extremely helpful. And there's in the book Good to Great, there's a story about James Stockdale. He was a prisoner of war for 7 years and went through extreme isolation. And he talked about how he got through it. And he said, I never lost faith in the end of the story. And we're in an experience right now that we're going to look back and we've got the opportunity to write and create something in a moment of history that we will look back on. And you can either have kind of the woulda, shoulda, couldas or the do it, did it, done it's. And so having that perspective of, okay, I'm moving. I have no idea what I'm doing half the time, but I'm moving.
Right.
I'm trying to create something. And that has always helped to write a better story. And in the end, right, I think we're going to be okay. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. So let's just keep moving, control what you control, all the basic cliche motivational stuff that everybody talks about, but it is real. It's true. Yeah. So get busy living or you can get busy dying. Shawshank Redemption. I like that movie. So I decided to just get busy.
There you go. Clint, this has been so good, man. We appreciate the time and I appreciate you leading the way in setting up the virtual studio here. I'm sure we'll continue to have conversations over the coming weeks and months about how you're doing and how you're adapting and adjusting, but we appreciate you, man.
Grateful for you, Grant. Thanks for all you're doing, man. Seriously.
Hey, if people want to find out more about you, what you're up to, where can we go?
Yeah, hit me up on Instagram, just at Clint Pulver, and then my website is clintpulver.com. And happy to help. Seriously, anybody that needs help on any of this, please reach out.
We're all making it up as we go.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
The blind is leading the blind.